There is a truth about relationships that most men never fully grasp, and it is this: the smallest, almost imperceptible gestures hold the most power. It is not about grand declarations, expensive gifts, or carefully rehearsed lines of confidence. It is about the details, the quiet moments, the subtle actions that speak louder than any words ever could. These are the things that make a woman think about a man over and over again, even when he himself believes he has done nothing special. Genuine attraction is not built in a single dramatic moment. It is built in the accumulation of small, consistent acts of presence, attention, and sincerity. And the man who understands this has a power that most men will never possess. Think about it for a moment. Most men go through their relationships without ever realizing how powerful these simple gestures truly are. They focus on the big things. They plan elaborate dates. They buy thoughtful gifts. They try to impress with words and achievements. And while those things have their place, they are not what creates the deep, lasting emotional bond that makes a woman feel truly connected. That bond is forged in the quiet moments, in the gentle touch, in the warm look, in the simple act of being fully present. The philosopher Seneca once observed that it is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it. And the same applies to relationships. It is not that men do not have enough time to build connection. It is that they waste their time focusing on the wrong things. They chase the big gestures while ignoring the small ones that actually matter. There are certain gestures that almost all women appreciate, even if they rarely express it directly. These are not secrets. They are not manipulative tricks. They are simple expressions of care, attention, and emotional intelligence. And when a man learns to incorporate them into his daily interactions, he becomes the kind of man who is hard to forget. He becomes the man she thinks about when he is not around. He becomes the man she genuinely wants to be with. One of the most overlooked gestures, yet one that holds incredible power, is caring touch. For many women, physical contact is not just about the body. It is deeply connected to emotions. A gentle massage on the shoulders, neck, or back after a long day is not just a physical act. It is a way of saying, without words, "I see you. I know you have been carrying weight. Let me help you release it." It is a way of communicating care and presence without the need for elaborate conversation. The key to making this gesture work is to do it calmly and without rushing. It should not feel like a formality or an obligation. It should feel like a genuine desire to comfort and connect. When a man uses oil or lotion with a calming scent and moves his hands slowly while observing her reaction, he is creating an experience of safety and tenderness. She will feel his attention, his patience, his willingness to be present. And that feeling, that sense of being truly cared for, is something she will remember. Another often overlooked gesture is polite and respectful flirting. Many men choose to avoid flirting entirely because they worry about appearing overly aggressive or they are simply afraid of rejection. But most women appreciate a gentle, natural, and respectful approach. A faint smile, a warm look, or a simple compliment can be the spark that rekindles her femininity and makes her feel appreciated. Flirting should not stop after a relationship begins. In fact, it plays a vital role in maintaining the warmth of the relationship and reminding her of the early days when intimacy began to grow. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus taught that we should not seek to have events happen as we wish, but to wish them to happen as they do happen. And when it comes to flirting, this means letting go of the need for a specific outcome and simply enjoying the interaction. A man who flirts with genuine warmth and playfulness, without desperation or pressure, is creating an atmosphere of lightness and connection that most women find irresistible. There is something deeply intimate about touching a woman's hair. For many women, hair is a sensitive area and is closely associated with comfort and trust. A gentle touch during quiet moments, such as watching a movie together or lying side by side, can create a profound sense of security and emotional warmth. The key lies in context. This gesture should feel natural, not forced, and should be done at the right moment. It is not something to be rushed or performed. It is something to be offered when the moment feels right, when there is already a sense of closeness and ease. When a man reaches out to gently touch her hair, he is communicating a level of tenderness that words cannot capture. He is telling her, without speaking, that he is present, that he is attuned to her, that he values the quiet intimacy of the moment. The philosopher Marcus Aurelius wrote that the soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. When a man's thoughts are colored by tenderness and presence, his actions reflect that. And a woman feels that deeply. She feels the sincerity behind the gesture, and it deepens her trust in him. Placing a hand on the center of a woman's back is another simple gesture that carries immense meaning. It conveys a sense of protection, presence, and reassurance. When a man is walking together with a woman in public and gently places a hand on her back, the message she receives is clear. I am here. You are safe. This is not a form of control or possession. It is a mature and stable concern that communicates strength without aggression. It is a way of saying, without words, that he is paying attention, that he is aware of her, that he is ready to guide and protect if needed. This gesture is particularly powerful in crowded or unfamiliar environments where a woman might feel vulnerable. The hand on her back is a quiet anchor, a steady presence that tells her she is not alone. The philosopher Zeno of Citium, the founder of Stoicism, taught that the goal of life is to live in agreement with nature. And it is natural for a woman to want to feel protected by the man she is with. When a man offers that protection through a simple, grounded gesture, he is living in agreement with that natural dynamic, and she will feel it. There is also the protective aspect of presence. A woman wants to feel that her man will not disappear when things get tough. This does not mean seeking conflict or being aggressive. It means demonstrating a readiness to be there when she needs support. Sometimes just one small, firm step forward or a reassuring sentence is enough to make her feel like she is not facing everything alone. Moments like these are often remembered far longer than simple words. A man who stands steady in the face of difficulty, who does not waver or retreat, who offers his presence as a quiet anchor, is a man who builds deep trust. And trust, as any wise person knows, is the foundation of everything. Without trust, attraction withers. With trust, it flourishes. The philosopher Musonius Rufus, a Stoic teacher who profoundly influenced Epictetus, wrote that we should not use our words to command, but to persuade and to teach. A man who teaches through his actions, who shows through his presence that he is reliable and steady, persuades her of his value far more effectively than any words ever could. One gesture that may sound simple but has a powerful emotional impact is telling a woman she is present in his dreams. This can create the feeling that she is always on his mind, even when he is not consciously aware of it. This feeling can increase the sense of meaning and importance in the relationship. It tells her that she occupies a significant space in his inner world, that she is not just someone he spends time with, but someone who is woven into his thoughts even when they are apart. This is not about grand romantic declarations. It is about a quiet, genuine expression of how she lives in his mind. The philosopher Cleanthes, who succeeded Zeno as the head of the Stoic school, wrote that the fates guide the willing, but drag the unwilling. A man who is willing to express his genuine thoughts and feelings, who is willing to let her know she matters to him, is guided toward deeper connection. A man who is unwilling, who withholds his feelings out of fear or pride, is dragged into distance and disconnection. The visual aspect of a man's presence also matters. For example, a well-groomed beard is often associated with maturity, masculinity, and stability. Many women are drawn to this look because it signals a certain groundedness and self-respect. However, what is most important is not simply having a beard, but how a man grooms himself and displays natural confidence. It is about the attention he pays to his appearance, not out of vanity, but out of self-respect. A man who takes care of himself sends a message that he values himself and that self-value is attractive. It is not about being perfect. It is about being intentional. The Stoic philosopher Hierocles wrote that we should approach others as we would approach ourselves, with patience and understanding. When a man applies that same patience and understanding to himself, when he takes care of his appearance and presents himself with dignity, he projects an energy that women find compelling. Finally, there is the power of a hug. A warm, confident embrace can provide a sense of security, strengthen emotional closeness, and build a deeper bond. A kiss on the forehead or a gentle hand on the shoulder can also strengthen the feeling of being truly together beyond what words can express. These gestures are not complicated. They do not require special skills or expensive resources. They require presence. They require a willingness to be fully there, to offer comfort, to communicate care through the body as well as through words. A man who knows how to embrace with warmth and confidence is a man who knows how to make a woman feel safe. And safety, as any woman will tell you, is the foundation of desire. Without safety, desire cannot thrive. With it, it can flourish beyond anything words alone could achieve. All of these gestures may seem simple on the surface, but it is through small things like these that a woman feels how she is being treated in a relationship. They do not require a lot of money, but they do require real attention, presence, and sincerity. They require a man to be fully engaged in the moment, to notice the small details, to care about how his actions land on her heart. By starting to implement these gestures, a man not only improves the quality of his relationship, but also becomes the kind of man she truly wants to be by her side. He becomes someone she feels safe with, someone she trusts, someone she genuinely desires to be with. And that is a powerful thing. But there is also a warning that must be given. Most men make a critical mistake that causes a woman to slowly lose interest, even when everything seems perfect at first. They become complacent. They stop paying attention to the small gestures. They stop being present. They assume that once a relationship is established, the work is done. They stop flirting, stop touching, stop being intentional. They become comfortable, and in that comfort, they become forgettable. The philosopher Seneca observed that we suffer more often in imagination than in reality. And this applies to relationships in a powerful way. Men imagine that the big gestures are what matter. They imagine that once they have won a woman over, they can relax and coast on past achievements. But the reality is that relationships require ongoing attention. They require consistent presence. They require the small gestures that communicate care day after day. A woman does not lose interest because of one big mistake. She loses interest because of 1,000 small moments of neglect. 1,000 moments when he was not fully present. 1,000 moments when he stopped paying attention. And by the time he notices her pulling away, it is often too late. The good news is that it does not have to be that way. A man can choose to be intentional. He can choose to pay attention. He can choose to incorporate these small gestures into his daily life. And when he does, he becomes the kind of man she cannot forget. He becomes the kind of man she genuinely desires to be with. He becomes the kind of man who stands out in a world full of men who have stopped trying. The power of these gestures is not in their size. It is in their consistency. It is in the fact that they communicate over and over again that she is seen, valued, and cared for. And that communication is the foundation of lasting attraction. So, if you are a man who wants to build a relationship that lasts, who wants to be the kind of man a woman genuinely wants to be with, pay attention to the small things. Notice the details. Be present. Touch with care. Flirt with warmth. Stand steady in the face of difficulty. Express your feelings with honesty. Take care of yourself. And above all, never stop letting her know, through your actions, that she matters to you. The biggest mistake you can make is to assume that once you have her, you no longer need to show her why she chose you. The truth is that you need to show her every single day, not with grand gestures, but with the small, consistent acts of presence and care that build a bond that cannot be broken. If this video helped you in one way or another, please consider supporting the channel using the Super Thanks feature. Your support means a lot, and it helps us keep creating better content specially for you. Every contribution goes directly into improving the quality of these videos and bringing you more of the Stoic wisdom and psychological insights that you have come to expect. Thank you for being part of this journey. Stay grounded, stay present, and I will see you right here in the next one.